we went up to Springfield and we had to leave there a day earlier than we figured though because of that storm came through. So everybody abandoned ship up there, but it was a big crowd there on Saturday.
So, did you get a chance to talk to RR Circuits about if they're going to make available the original LCC tower node?
I didn't ask him that. We did talk to Dick there. He was there, and I was asking him just some other specifics, but I didn't ask him about that tower LCC node.
Okay, I was just curious.
Yeah, because is it right now, Steve? Is it unavailable or?
Yeah, it's not on their website. The queue is, but the original tower is not.
Okay, and all right. So I wonder, oh, I see. And that one, yeah, the Q has got the other type of programming on it, right? It doesn't have the
Yeah,
normal.
yeah, it's got that other style logic on it.
Right. Okay. Hi, Ken.
Ken may know.
Yeah.
I'll try that again. What might I know?
Well, we were wondering if RR Circuits was going to remanufacture the old tower LCC node.
Well, though we sat next to each other for the 2 days or so at Springfield, that was one of the things I did forget to ask. But
Oh, okay.
on inspection of looking at the board side by side, I've got the feeling that the production cost of the Q Plus versus the production cost of the original tower is marginally different. Close enough that it might not warrant having both in the inventory because they'd only be a couple of bucks different, maybe.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering. I just have one tower node for backup from the original batch, and um, I was thinking if I might be able to pick them up used in in the future if I need one. That's that was the point, I guess.
Yeah, but the old classic of, well, drop them a line and
Yeah.
you can confirm or deny what the plan is. I mean, it
Yeah.
may also be one of those things where, okay, they changed the availability of chips, and if the original chip isn't available, and gee, you got this other design that doesn't cost a whole lot different, they have the temptation of, do I really want to go through reworking the design for this other new chip for what's actually a lot less functionality?
Okay. Anything new and exciting from the show?
The biggest and the new and exciting that I saw was, of course, the release of TCS has released a eight eight zone railcom detector, and that's basically Balazs's design that Dick and others have kicked around for a number of years. Kind of, well, we got to get other things in place first, and well, this finally came to fruition.
Yeah, I'd been seeing some things, about it, different locations, and I guess I've got to make the decision: do I want Relcom or not? Because I have all NCE equipment, and my understanding is this new board, uh, it does it have the Cat 5 connectors on it, so the LCC lines are hooked to it, or um, how does it report to LCC? I guess I'm wondering.
Okay. It is a full LCC node. Exactly how it reports, I had my hands full with enough other things. And the one time I did swing by to try to talk to some of the TCS people, they were scattered to the winds. And I didn't get an exact, well, okay, let me see one visually and hit the 5 or 10 questions. I did run into Blas and we did talk about other things, but didn't really get into that level of detail.
Sure. Well, it sounds like an interesting uh, product that came out with anyway.
And as far as I know right now, Bob Jacobson is working with one to improve how JMRI can handle the tags, the RFID or Railcom information packets, as the pre-existing stuff was not was kind of extremely limited since it was originally written around the transponding that Digitrax offered, and it kind of needed to get loosened up. But also the C-Bus people were doing stuff with uh, I don't know if it's RFID or Railcom or both, and kind of figuring out, okay, how do we make a generalized format that can work with these?
Well, that sounds interesting too, to get RFID on the LCC side of things.
Well, historically, the biggest problem with RFID has been um, in anything under O scale, the zone that the detector wants to read exceeds that of the spacing of a dual main line. So you would be reading some of the other track traffic, and that kind of defeats the usefulness if you can't tell, okay, is it the train going east or the train going west?
Uh, okay, well that makes sense.
But that's kind of what I had gotten summary of on RFID like about 5 or 6 years ago. And I haven't heard anything saying that, okay, they've come up with ways to make much more of a focused detector. So that's not an issue. Because when you look at, well, how's the rest of the world using RFID tags? Uh, it's generally not on things as small as a locomotive or cars.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Like in Illinois on the toll roads, you just put a little RFID tag up in your windshield, and it detects when you go through the toll booths. Even at high speed, it's just amazing that they can pick that up and you know determine what vehicle it is and everything.
Yeah, and here in New York State, we've been using that stuff for probably a decade and a half now. And I saw a lot of the development and some of the internal details. And actually, the little box that you're putting up in the window, about 2/3 of it is basically antenna so that it powers itself up as you near the reader station, and that in turn powers it so it can answer back. And it's like, okay, well, that's how you don't have batteries and stuff like that in those things.
Yeah, because the transponder, the box you're talking about, they no longer use. It's just a piece of tape on your windshield, on the inside of the windshield that has a chip in it. And I mean, it's real thin, doesn't take up much space. And that's what's amazing to me, how they can do that and record everything.
Yeah, it's definitely a thin film, network there, and buried somewhere in that is the smallest of little chips that has more than enough ability to do what it needs to do.
Yep.
Rodney,
Well,
anything new on cats with the next release or not yet? Or still looking at it or
Yeah, okay. I'm making progress. There's been a lot of other stuff going on, but I figured out how to do um, how to use the built-in Java logging, which will help with designer and train stat. And I'm going to use the standard JMRI logging for cats. So it's basically my path here is try to get rid of the current log4j version 1. So I made some progress on that, and then some other things came up. So yeah, things are happening, but nothing in the immediate future.
oh okay, yeah, because I'd say we're about I'd say 6 months out on the layout from trying to launch the whole thing being totally cats, and we are just wondering if the fix might be in by then.
I don't know.
Okay,
Every it seems like every time I get going on something, other things happen.
I gotcha.
Well, it's at least nice to hear that you've gotten a little bit of work at getting switched over to the Java, logging 5 thing. So we won't have that back compatibility issue to kick around. I think when you get
Yeah,
that straightened out, so that's not one more step in the updating cats, I think you'll finally get a lot of people to actually update their cats and the Jamrai that goes with it.
yep. Yeah, I agree. That's been a real thorn in my side is having to need those old the old libraries because
Do you
it's not
have a
just yeah, it's not just the program itself, but it has to do with the launcher and what goes into release and things like that.
just
and Rodney,
well, one thing I wanted to ask quick is, do
sure.
you have a clue of how many installations are running out there?
A clue? Nope, not a clue. I, actually, I would guess maybe several hundred because we could look at the membership of this group and there's a lot like you Ken who just are members but don't use it. And so I would think the number is smaller, but I think there's also a bunch that don't even know about the group and aren't registered. Um, I don't know what the membership on the group is right now, but I probably have to go look. But I would guess I know it's in the hundreds.
So Rodney, I wanted to ask, so you're using Javelin 21, the version on your new stuff that you're experimenting with?
Okay, what I do is I believe. Let me do a quick check and see. I believe that what I am doing is running under Java 21. And that's not the window I want. Um, let me bring up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I believe I am under Java 21 because the JMRI screen tells me. Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
I do all my development under Java 21. However, in the build environment, I tell it to use Java 8 conformance. So the code that gets generated is compatible with everything from Java 8 through Java 21.
Mm.
So I don't know use any of the newer features of Java. I find the old stuff works just fine for me.
Yeah. No, the only reason I ask is because JMRI is wanting, from what I remember reading on their website, they're wanting people to go to Java 21. And that's the only reason why I asked.
Yeah, yeah. So um, I think the answer to your question is because I'm running do the development with Java 21 and testing. I think it'll work okay under Java 21.
Sure.
And yeah, that's a real headache. I've been watching what's been going on with JMRI and the Java recommendations and stuff like that. And I don't have an answer.
Yeah. Well, I know when I went up, I tried to run the latest version of Java and or of JMRI. And uh, used to be you'd go to a different website. Now you go to the Microsoft website for Windows to upload the Microsoft Java, where in the past you'd go, I don't know, AZUL, something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So I was just curious how much changes. I mean, getting away from Oracle and AZUL and going to the Microsoft to upload the Java, I thought was interesting.
Yeah. I did the Java 21 stuff while it was part of Azul.
Oh,
And I don't know if Microsoft bought Azul, maybe. I'm not sure. I haven't followed that.
boy, these days you just never know who owns what anymore.
No.
And Microsoft certainly had a lot of troubles with updates, things
Yeah.
crashing, then they send out another update, then that crashes. And I'm dealing with a mouse and keyboard problem on one of the PCs um, this evening, and still scratching my head about that one.
Oh, that's still in there? Wow. Um, Run an internet search for that. I had it on my machine and I forget how I fixed it. There was something on a little article in the on the internet saying do this or that, and I don't remember what it was. It may have been just something as simple as unplug your USB and plug it back in.
Yeah, I've tried that. I'm working on a Geek OM mini computer, and
Right.
so I at this point I went back to the original. When I bought it, they threw a keyboard and a mouse in, so I've got that plugged in and using it instead of Logitech mouse and keyboard, and it seems to be working better. Uh, and there's one item that I have to research too. I have bought an adapter so I can plug in SSD drives and HDD drives, and then I'm trying to back up stuff to um, the server, all stuff that goes back 10, 20 years, hard drive
Hmm.
that I've set aside as I've got new equipment and stuff. And I'm just trying to, boy, when that thing run, when the keyboard and mouse just go to sleep on it. you can move stuff, nothing, type, nothing happens. So anyway, I hope Microsoft gets it figured out, whatever they've got going on.
Yeah, because I'm using, on your recommendation, I'm using the same Geekcom
Yeah, yeah,
mini computer, and I've got the Logitech wireless keyboard and mouse, and I had troubles. It was a boot problem. After the system reboots, it didn't recognize the mouse and keyboard.
uh,
I'm finding that I think Windows itself gets screwed up.
yeah. That's what
Yeah,
I'm thinking.
because I get Windows. I'll get like uh, a window up that's just the file navigator, and it won't do anything. I have to close the window down and open a new one up.
Yeah, and that's what I was, the file navigator. Had two up, transferring files from the external SSD to the to upload to the NAS device. Yeah, that's been kind of frustrating today. But after all these years of working on this stuff, you think I get used to it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think Windows 11 is nearly
Is
as solid as 10 was.
no, no. Oh, on
Rodney, when you do come out with the next version of cats there, it will include the fix for the going across the diamonds like we discovered, and the automatic, dummy automatic signals that exit and interlock, and that'll fix that, right?
Yeah, I've got, like I say, I've got those, as best I can tell, I've got them working, and it's just a matter of other things are holding it up.
Okay, yeah, I was just wondering, because we're probably going to need that at that point, when we're starting to operate there.
Hmm. Well, good evening, Ray.
Good evening. Sorry I missed you guys last month.
Don't, it's no problem. I did too.
It's pretty bad when
Hey,
one of the main people misses himself.
it was New Year's if I remember right. So yeah,
Something like that. Yeah. What's new with you?
not too much. How about you?
Just trying to stay healthy. I had my surgery. Kidney stones are no fun. But
Ooh, they
yeah.
had to do surgery. They couldn't blast it with ultrasound.
No, they didn't offer that. They said going up and going in and lasering.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. No fun. No
Yeah.
fun. No fun. Um, I've been watching some of our threads about cats and things. I think the highlightest one is did we get any testing? Or I know that let's talk about that just briefly. You developed cats, correct?
Right.
So in any way, shape, or form, you're not paid to do anything on it, correct?
Correct.
Right. So testing's at your time whenever you feel like it.
Yeah, basically. Well, typically what I will do
Go ahead.
is, and I'm very careful about how I do fixes. I try to make them very focused, and focused by meaning, small chunk of code that exhibits a certain behavior and a certain fix. And I can do some degree of what you might call unit testing on that. So I'll come up with some scenarios, and I've got actually some way of doing some automated tests. for more of looking for regression testing so that hopefully it didn't break anything. So here I will focus on looking at the paths that I've changed and things like that. Um, and then as kind of a general um, um, before I release anything at all, then I will put it on several layouts in that I actually operate on.
Sure.
So it's in the immediate geographic area, and they're large. Some of them are large layouts. So
Mhm.
that is a pretty good stress test. And after I usually let that go, I'd like to get several sessions in. After that's all done, then I will release it.
See, that's important to understand and realize, when I'm looking through these things, like, why didn't you get back to me 30 seconds ago? Come on, guys. This is a labor of love,
Yeah,
love of coding and love of model railroading.
yeah. Unfortunately, I got other things going on too because I'm in an officer in the local model railroad club, and
Mhm.
we go through. We're currently in the midst of our budgeting for 2026, and anytime you start talking about money, things get weird.
I
You know.
think we did too over our club. We had our meeting on Tuesdays. Ours is Tuesdays, first of the month. So,
Yep. And then I also put together the web pages for the Rocky Op weekend, and
mm,
that was kind of a rush issue because we wanted to put a deadline of when we get the pages up so we could start getting registrations in.
right.
So yeah, there are always things going on. Plus, I like to operate on layouts and you know,
You mean you like to have fun?
yeah,
It's my model railroad, and I'm going to do what I want to do. uh, yeah, well, I've been working under Storm for the designs of different modules, mainly because the module portion of our club's going to kick up again here at the end of the next month. We've got a big show in Reno that we go to. It's a home and garden show. Um, uh, Carson City Railroad Association, what we call CCRA, and we just did Santa Train back in December, which is effectively we bring the modules out to the Nevada State Railroad Museum, which is really just down the street, and we set up a small display and run choo-choos. So
yeah. We found that our in-scale guys um, built some T-track modules, and we found that really rejuvenated the interest in, because use our meetings where kind of everybody kind of sits there and listens to whatever the speaker has to say and stuff like that. But
yeah.
getting the people together and working on brand new modules was a real shot in the arm for getting the enthusiasm going again.
Yeah, it seems that over the last couple of months, all of a sudden we have more people at our business meeting than we've had on average of the whole year.
Yep, I believe it.
Yeah, and I'm going, that's great. I don't care whether they're, 16 or 60. It's bodies in the meeting is a lot better than crickets.
Yep. Yep, definitely so.
So, well, I want to personally thank you for working on cats. I, from what I've seen and what I understand, again, my implementation has not been completed yet or even started. My fault. But again, what I've seen and read on, it's like next best thing since sliced bread.
Well, thank you.
So, how was some of the questions this last month that you've gotten? Daryl had some issues. A couple other guys had some issues.
Yep, yep. For some of them, it's the answers are fairly simple. For others, this could be a major rewrite. And if possible, I tend to avoid the things that are going to be really major simply because, we talked about testing. There,
Yes.
there, the code isn't focused and it's more widespread. But often I've been unfortunate. Most cases I can find it's only like half a dozen lines of code or something like that that needs to be changed. And those I feel pretty good about making the changes.
Yeah, I know that a lot of guys are coming into this. I've been looking at it for the last. How many years have you released it?
Okay, yeah. My first release into the wild, so to speak.
Go ahead.
And I remember because actually I was just talking to Bob Jacobson a few weeks ago because he was helping us with our website for Rocky Out. But anyway, my first exposure into the wild was at I believe it was the 2006 Cincinnati National Convention.
20
So
years.
yeah, 20 years. So yeah, that makes it hard to keep the enthusiasm going.
It's your baby. What are you talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
You gave birth in 2006 and massaged it and groomed it and everything else, and here it is, 2026, 20 year.
True.
Yeah.
Well,
What
actually,
month was? Go ahead.
yeah. So actually, I've been working on before then. That's when I first released it, so
Hmm.
people could see it. So
Hmm.
I've got some notes that indicate the first time I got working with JMRI was, I believe, 2003.
It's going well, even with public release. It's grown well.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Um, I mean that's you know for some guys they're not going to respect or understand the grasp of some of that. It's just it is what it is. But because I got into it, let's say 3 years ago,
Hmm.
plus or minus a week, you know, I already had enough of the feeling about it because of my background, that it is a it's a huge accomplishment, to just get something that actually works smoothly into a public forum per se.
Yeah, I agree. I still sometimes I get dispatch on a couple of railroads. Believe it or not, I may
Mhm.
dispatch once or twice a year. So and that kind of gets the juices flowing again.
Oh, of course, yeah, yeah, yeah. Anytime I'm running, it get kind of I my home business, quote unquote, um, has kind of been DCC, decoder installs on crazy things or repairs or whatever. I had all of a sudden after I did a DCC clinic back in November, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I had 9 engines show up from the club for a DCC conversion
Hmm.
or repair or whatever. And I'm going, holy mackerel, this thing blew up in my face. Mind you, I'd already been working with one guy, and you probably know him out of Sidetrack Hobbies, and I'm doing his stuff personal, and and I've got I've done upwards of almost 10 of his units. I've got and done. I think I've done 3 for him, and I've got at least 6 more on my desk. What didn't help was the illness for the last several months. And I, in fact, just talked to him. He says, "Hey, how are they doing? It's still there. I'm sorry, but it this helps rejuvenate the juices too. That I know I need to get into them. I need to get them done. So it's kind of I understand what you've gone through. Then I guess what I'm looking at also is that some of these people, they're I'm going to use the word loosely, newbies, but they shouldn't be. I mean, it's only because they just got back into maybe the hobby, like I did 3 years ago, and so I'm wading through some of this stuff that might be secondhand to you. So I'm very careful in what I say, how I approach things, but I already have enough knowledge to be dangerous to know where I want to go down the road, and is this part of that path and things. I think it is. It's going to be.
Mhm.
When I get into hardware, actually wire and stuff, that is a different question. Software is, gee, is it reading the sensor out there? Did you put the right codes in the software to read the sensor? I think that comes from my electronics slash custom power supply manufacturing that I was involved in, and as a test engineer. And I'm going, okay, this stuff isn't talking. What did we do wrong? Where did we look at the engineering wrong? And and then I find out, oh, forgot a ground wire.
Yep.
Oops. Now, what was the last one I did? Oh, I'm trying to install a buddy's RV thermostat. None of the wires coming out of the wall are the right colors for what the wires are depicted on the instruction sheet. 4 greens, 3 reds, 2 oranges, 1 black, a couple other colors and says, "Oh, I'm looking for the blue, yellow, and." I'm going, "There's no blue." Poof goes the thermostat once I hook it up in the way I thought it was supposed to hook up. Then I have to repair a trace. I did figure something out in this week, talking about DCC installs and this. I've got some RDCs from Proto 1000s, good old days, and I put a DCC decoder in it. I'm running it on the club track. I'm expressing my curiosity. Did you guys flip the switch back? And these happen to be junior members. Yeah, your switch aligned fine. So I run my choo-choo into it. Of course, it wasn't. And it just stops, jams, whatever. And I'm going, now what? And it won't work anywhere all of a sudden. So I get it home. I'm annoyed. I thought I just fried the $30 decoder. Get it home, tear it apart. Wires burned. Fusible
Mhm.
link. Fusible link. I'm in auto parts, during my retirement when I'm going to do some work to get a little extra money in. And somebody came in and said, "Hey, yeah, I need to get some fusible link wire." I'm thinking. Oh, that's what Walters or Lifelike or whoever it was did. They had very fine wire for pickup, and that is if it shorted out, it would short out the wire and not the motor. Okay.
Well, you were lucky then, because typically when I find a DCC locomotive shorts, often the decoder goes up in smoke. And,
Mhm.
$30 is cheap when, particularly when you get sound decoders and stuff.
Right now, you're looking at $130. Yeah, I know.
So that's why been a confirmed believer in putting circuit breakers in, because that seems like that reduces the number of fried decoders considerably.
Yeah, and I'm not going to get onto the Ken Patterson situation either. That's a different subject for personal reflection.
Yeah.
But that is true, and I'm just looking back at my own personal, study of things, and it's interesting. Fusible link. Okay, I got it. And I didn't. If you'd asked me about that, year ago, 2 years ago, whatever, I wouldn't have thought anything of it. Of having inside in the engine a fuse instead, or fusible link wire, or finer wire for the pickup. Wire that will accept 5 amps only, you know, or 2 amps, whatever. And then if it goes over that, it burns. So that way it separates and stops.
Well, an interesting fusible link. Uh, During the summertime, I'm on the outdoor riding scale stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
there's one type of control board. Their so-called fusible link for the power that goes to the handheld throttle. Well, it's originally a little trace on the board, but well, if that burns off because one of the wires in the connector or something did short,
Right.
you take, I think it's 3 strands out of a stranded 24 gauge wire and place them across where those contacts were.
Yeah. Effectively, that was the same thing that was inside this engine. It was like, yeah, 24. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You're right. So what's new with cats, Rodney?
Not too much right now. I get a little that's kind of where we came before you dropped in, was
Jumped on.
talking
Okay.
about. I've got a little time to work on some things, and I keep thinking maybe one of these days I'll get some more time.
We can't buy time. Come on, guy.
No.
It's probably hard to Rodney. It's probably hard to estimate how long something's going to take too, right? Because you got to go. It's like almost impossible, isn't it?
Yeah. I've got like 30, 40 years in the software industry, and if any software developer tells you got to take this time so long, he's lying.
I always multiply by 3 and add another 30.
Yeah, I've always heard double it and move it to the next highest unit.
Yep. Add
Now,
0.
I'm sure Ken has some experience too.
Yeah, that and add a 0. You'd be closer to the real number.
Well, with mine, which was a lot of contract consulting, sometimes in the first day or week, you sit down and you hear from the client what they're really trying to do, and you explain to them that, well, you could get 80% of this a lot sooner than you think,
Mm-hmm.
but that other 20% is going to take it way past when it's not really worth doing anymore, from the timeline. Some get it, most don't.
Well, I usually tell them if somebody asks me how long does it take, I say, well, the first 80% takes 80% of the time, and the second 80% takes the other 80% of the time.
I've always found that, yeah, I can get 80% done in a short amount of time. It's when you want to ship it in 3 weeks and you've only given me 2 days, by the way, to get this done in. you know, not going to happen. What part of this do you not engineeringly figure out? You got to get through the R&D and then the ordering and then the test bed and then it's
Well, it's the
implemented.
old, yeah, it's the old, you got three variables. You can choose two of them. The third one becomes the other side of the equation.
Ken, when you were down in Springfield there, you stay overnight on Sunday? When'd you stay till the weather cleared up? How long did you stay extra? I'm just curious.
Well, I did since well, at the time I left, the school was still open for Monday. I kind of didn't think it actually would stay that way all time, but to cover myself, I got out of there about 3 p.m. because I give my noon clinic and a few other things, and it was getting pretty dead. So I stuffed my stuff in the truck, and my Fremo modules were going to ride with my other friend anyhow, and hit the road. So I did about 40 miles an hour from Springfield to Syracuse. And it took about 6.5 hours. And normally it's about three and a quarter, 3.5.
Oh my God, that's awful.
Not really. There was so emptiness out there. Okay, yeah, it was kind of rough and some snow and ice, but well, that's what four-wheel high is for. Lock the axles, keep it, it's geared up, but it's so rolling at 40 is a nice leisurely but very controlled pace. And all the way from there to Springfield to there, I say I either got past or passed a total of 20 other vehicles on my side of the road, not counting plow trucks.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it was that empty.
Because we left Springfield we decided to leave on Saturday night after dinner at 9 p.m., drive all the way back to Buffalo. We made it in 6 hours. It was no problems at all. We found no snow. It was just right along all
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah, it at Springfield itself. I got up Sunday morning, had breakfast, went to the show, and there was no snow. It started about 9:30, and walking back from Mallory to Stroh, there was some dusting on the ground. By the time I went from Stroh to Young for my clinic at noon, I had to go through about 5 inches of snow. When I
Oh
came
boy.
back, it was about 7 inches.
Oh boy.
And then when I was finally loading out, it was about 12 or 14.
Oh boy. Okay. That's a little rough to go distance like that.
Well,
Rodney, in the Denver
I
area, are you experiencing real cold weather like we are here in New York?
No, no. Denver has been unseasonably warm. It was 65 today and sunny.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
We Ken, we haven't been Rob there. I see Rob Ball is on here. We haven't been over. I don't think over freezing for like 25 days now.
Yeah, it's been staying kind of cool, but actually the most challenging part leaving Springfield was getting up to I-90. Uh, but once again, they had scared so many people. The fact that most of the roads had like a foot of snow on them, nobody was out there except those who had good tires and good ground clearance.
Right.
The other part, though, is I grew up in Buffalo originally, but we had lots of relatives all across the lower part of Ontario. And to go up to weddings, funerals, big birthday parties, whatever. Okay, so you're having to take 5 or 6 hours to drive. You're never getting above 30. Well, it just takes a while. I got used to that as a young kid. So with this other stuff, it's like, okay, fine, just sit back and enjoy.
Yeah.
I was doing what do you call it? Hauling freight, hot shot. Thank you. That was what I was doing. And I picked up a load out of Washington D.C. I was trying to beat the rain. By the time I got into Ohio, it was pure snow, and this was several years ago. And I had U-Hauls and other vehicles passing me, and I just pulled off into a Flying J, slept the overnight, and next morning it's bright sunshiny, it's starting to melt off. I hit back on the road. There's everybody in the median, flipped around and sitting in it, and I'm going, that's because you don't do 90 on the snow.
Yeah, I was going down to Florida twice and got somewhere in North Carolina, South Carolina, wherever the freeze line was. And
Sure.
it's like, I'm going to take a long breakfast here and sit this one out.
Yeah, no, I was just looking at my phone and looking at what the temperatures were. I know somewhere around, I'm Pacific Coast time. I'm actually in northern Nevada, and we had around midday 65 out here. Right now it's running around 61, and it's almost 5 p.m. my time. So it's like I was thinking earlier today, we've had an unseasonably dry winter. And it was cold in the winter. We had the frost. We had, snow on the tips of the mountains, but nothing here in the valley. So it's going to be interesting this year.
Yeah, and you guys get our water, which isn't going to come this year.
Right. And also we have a dam over here, and the agriculture was somebody was commenting at work is saying we hope to get water so that way we can grow. Otherwise, we're having a dust bowl.
Yeah.
They grow the alfalfa. It's a specific grain out here that all the feedlots like. We're talking feedlots of Japan and other locations. And then they grow corn also, so that way it keeps the soil happening. But they said, no, we're not growing anything right now because we doubt we're getting any water distribution. So yeah, this has been a rather, I was thinking, oh, we'll take all your snow and just dump it in a container out here, melt it on its own, put it behind the dam.
All right, Cantors, you got me wondering when last time we were above 32 degrees, and it was the day before we left for Springfield, and it was 33. And then before that, it was the Saturday before. So it was the 17th of January. It was the last time we got above 35.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I gotcha. Because I mean, it
And
wasn't much though, Rob. I mean, it's like I think early January is when we had that warm spell of 45.
on January 9th, we hit 60.
Did we really? Okay. Oh yeah, that
Yeah.
was okay. The day I came, you seen it on the route there. I think it was.
Yeah. Yeah. It was 60 out. Yep. Otherwise, we had a stretch of about 40 degrees for about a week. From like the 9th or the 10th till the 16th or thereabouts. But yeah, ever since we left for Springfield, the high hasn't been above about 25, 26.
And tomorrow it's supposed to be a high of like what 6?
No, it's Saturday. Tomorrow's supposed to be like 28 or 29.
Oh, it's gonna be that warm, but Saturday is gonna be a high of yeah.
Yeah, they're talking wind chills of minus 20 on Saturday morning.
Oh brother.
Great working conditions for me.
Yeah.
Oh, either of you guys going to the RPM in Rochester in 2 weeks?
No, I'll be out of town. I'd like to go. I'd like to go to one of those, but I'll be out of town.
And I'll be working that on that weekend there.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. We've got nice horseshoe for the Fremo layout.
Mhm. You doing any clinics there, Ken?
I'm not scheduled for anything. And talking, or rather, trying to talk to the organizers, I've gotten mixed signals as to uh, options for that. Though I kind of made it a point of saying there's a lot of people kind of find me and ask me things anyhow.
Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed your clinic at Springfield there. It was really good.
Yeah, we
Yeah, I
always
try to keep tweaking it stuff just to kind of what's going on and keep the right mix. So yeah, the new people get something, the older people get something, and it makes sense in use of the time. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Sunday there wasn't much people, like two people.
Yeah. I was watching the webcams that Virtual Railfan has, and they had one camera in Mallory and one in the BLC, and it was just completely dead. I mean, not even a tenth of the people that were there Saturday. I had never seen as many people as I saw Saturday. It was crazy.
I have not heard actual counts for the event, but what surprised me was walking through the Young Building on Sunday morning. All of the center layouts had left. I mean,
Wow.
there was a lot of wide open areas.
Yeah. First time I walked in the Young on Saturday morning, it was shoulder to shoulder through the whole building. It took me almost 20 minutes to go from one end to the other. I had never seen it like that. And then I came out what would it be, the geographic west end of the BLC around 10:30 where the ticket line is. And usually that line's not very long. And it was over 150 feet long at 10:30. I had never seen that before.
Yeah,
I didn't even go by the main ticket booth. I don't even know how long that line was. But the one on the other side there was packed.
yeah. I never got through. I never got over to the Better Living. So, and that's always the worst building for them packed in. And I don't get a good view of how busy it is because when I'm sitting at my desk in the Stro, uh, that building, it gets a nice number, but we know it never gets crowded.
Hmm.
Um, the Young, it's noon. I'm trying to get to my clinic. I know that's going to be crowded for that, 150-foot dash.
Right. Yeah, I think one of our friends posted copied a post and pasted it on our text thread, and I think they said Saturday had just shy of 19,000, which was the 1 day record.
Okay, from talking to other people, okay, I could agree with the 19. And I'd have to say that Sunday probably would account for about 4,000, maybe.
Okay, I think he said it was like 2,500, maybe, if I recall. It was around that number.
Okay, that would be more actually equally believable because everybody around that whole town was scared.
Yeah.
And actually
Yeah.
2,500 probably counts for most of the people who stayed there for Sunday with their, vendors, exhibitors, etc.
Right.
And maybe
Right.
500 actual paid admission.
Right. I definitely could agree with that. If you're watching the webcam there. Yeah, I think you had about 25 people in the clinic on Saturday. 25 to 28, I
Yeah,
think
it's
is what
something
I
around that.
counted.
Yeah,
It was a good
I
crowd.
didn't try I
It
didn't
was a
try
good
counting.
crowd.
Yeah, actually, last year it was packed in more
Yeah, I
on
was
the
pretty
Friday,
impressed.
rather Saturday, and Sunday had like 15 or 20, and it was more like 30 or 40, maybe 50 on the Saturday last year. But I'll tell you one thing, it was nice, all these brand new
You're
chairs they
right.
had.
Hmm.
Of course, this really isn't going to be
Yeah, it was
one
a
of
bit
the
more comfortable
better
this year.
web recordings to post since there's actually very little about cats today.
Well, hopefully, Rob, we'll be having a lot more questions come the future in the next couple months.
Well, I did interview, quote unquote.
Yeah, I haven't had it. We no, we did a signal cut in about 3 weeks ago now, and I haven't had a chance to touch cats on the new segment yet. I don't see us having any issues, but yeah, obviously if we do, I'll post something about it. So yeah, it's pretty quiet on our end.
I mean, I
Well,
did
you got to
interview
remember all the
Rodney.
work you got to get ready for 28 and the convention.
Mm.
Yeah, with Rochester being the host for it.
Well, the plan is Rochester's the host, but there will be events both in the Syracuse area and all across the Finger Lakes, and also some Buffalo too. Just exactly where in the schedule beats me.
Way too far out yet to know, but I mean, by that point, Kantorsky, maybe Rich would be willing to open up the doors, you know,
He
because
might be.
we're
We need a sort of like a team here to be ready though, and since everybody's
yeah,
just about everybody works for the railroad, that's a problem.
right, right. Yeah, I'm about the only one who doesn't work for the prototype.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody else does, so it does make it difficult.
That was also why part of the plan behind, okay, Rochester has the site, but a lot of the bodies are kind of coming from the wider area to support the event because,
Hmm.
just a matter of have to have enough hands.
Right.
Look forward to that. Hope everybody's healthy for it. Well, I'm gonna drop out here, guys. Good. I'm at my buddy's house, and there's a few other guys over here, so I'm gonna go socialize with them. So,
Yeah, I think it's about that time.
all right.
Good to hear
Hopefully,
from you, Rodney.
hopefully see you next month. Okay, thanks.
Yep. See ya.
See you.
Hey, Rodney, I thought I interviewed you pretty well,
Yeah.
That ought to go up, It's okay, Ken. It's all right.
Yep. So I'm going to hit the road. I've got a industry tour to drive bus for tomorrow with the college students. So we'll see ya.
Okay.
Good to see you in Springfield there, Ken. You take care now.
Take care, Ken. Yeah, I'm gonna end up just going back to getting these decoders done so I can get my proof of concept, my POC layout done, so that way I can learn more about interfacing for cats. And before I get my dad's layout, looks like I'm not getting my dad's layout for about another month. It's just logistics. And even then, if I had it today, it'd still be another 6 months before I'd get it interfaced ready for JMRI or cats. It is what it is.
Yep.
Hey, Rodney.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sent you the photo of that CTC panel from Chandler, Arizona.
Yep.
When I was down there last week, going through the museum. Did it actually look like a CTC panel?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, without all the knobs and everything on it, I wasn't quite sure.
No, it's um I would call it kind of like second generation. Um, because all the stuff was done through the little keyboard in the front. And in fact, talking to one of the I guess I call him my mentor, was a UP dispatcher. And I was at a NMRA forum in which he was talking about how they dispatched, and the thing about the keyboard was that it was a lot faster for them to sit there, and because they knew the codes they needed to type them in on the keyboard than was to reach up and twist the knobs and push the buttons and stuff.
Okay, that explains why um, it almost looked like a model railroaders panel.
No, I'm sure it was real. I don't know who the manufacturer was.
Uh,
I'm not that much on those old types of machines. I don't know if it was USNS or GRS.
okay, I was just curious that they had it on display there, and they had some pretty nice passenger cars and a bunch of other stuff there on the old Southern Pacific route.
Yeah, my guess, certainly my guess is, and there's no real reason for this, is the way this stuff works is that uh, um, the knobs and switches things, the way it worked is that the dispatcher would move one of the knobs and push the code button, and that would send, like an 8-bit code or something down the line, to the equipment out in the field. And my guess is that the keypad sent the code directly. So basically, what the guy was doing was entering the code and then sending it.
Uh,
Like I say, they said that that was really, they could do that very, very quick.
well, that panel covered a big territory too.
Yeah,
Uh,
it did.
so I don't know where that was based at. Maybe in Phoenix, but yeah, that was covered a big territory.
Yep.
Well, I'm going back to the problems I'm working on here. So everybody have a good week or a good month, I guess it'd be. And
Quick
Okay.
question, Steve.
yes,
Is that panel able to be seen by the public on the web at all?
look for I think it's Northern Arizona Museum in Chandler, Arizona, and
Okay.
it might be it. Basically, you pay, when you pay, you walk into pay, and then the next room, it's right there.
Okay.
Um, good question. If not, Rodney's got or I could send you a picture that I took. I took several photos of it, knowing Rodney might be interested in it. But it's Southern Pacific, and one of the things I was looking for is old Mesa Depot, but it burned down in '82, according to the internet. I I'd first seen it in 1976, but so it's, and it was Southern Pacific mission style depot, and it burned down, and all the tracks been removed. So that was kind of I was just hoping to find it, but not to be. So anyway, good talking with everybody, and yeah, next month.
Okay, talk to you later.
Yeah.
Have a good night, Steve. And I'm gonna head out as well. So you guys have a good month, and we'll see you in March.
Okay.
Take care, guys.
Well, Ray, if you don't have anything, I think I will sign off too then.
Seems to be sign off minute.
Yeah.
No, I was just asking because sometimes it's kind of neat to see one, the prototype and in different environments. Then finding out at Southern Pacific, I grew up Southern Pacific-ish in the Bay Area. I mean, once UP took over, it was UP, but it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
We had a big, large Southern Pacific emblem on the side of our building at the fairgrounds for our club. That was donated by an ex-employee, because Southern Pacific was saying bye bye, once the merger started.
Mm-hmm.
So different people were able to take different pieces of memorabilia accordingly. But what I have in mind for a CT panel or CATS panel or whatever might be different from what really the prototype is. And I'm just saying that I'm able to be swayed
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know what the right way is, technically, unless it works.
Right. Well, the right way is what you want.
Yeah, it's back to my model railroad. I'm going to do the way I do.
You got it.
So, all right, Rodney. Hey, hopefully you stay dry, but I mean, we can always wish for snow so that way we can get through the water.
Yeah. Staying dry is not the problem.
It's summer.
Yeah. I'm just afraid it's going to burn up out here.
Yeah, no, it
If we
is.
don't get some moisture.
Yeah. Rumor is that first part of next week, California is supposed to be underwater. Does that translate to out here in Lovelock? Nah, not really.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
So, actually, what all I'm doing is I'm going to try and get in between the raindrops and get solar panel off of my dad's house and solar stuff and put it on a pallet for sale. So he's had it on his house for 20 years, 30-year, timeline for usage. So there's another 10 years available out of it. Somebody can
Mm-hmm.
have 10 years worth of use. I don't care. I'm not bringing it all the way out here and resetting it up because I don't have the land or property for it. So, however, on the model train layout, no, that's coming. So,
Okay.
keep up the good work, my friend.
Okay. We'll see you later.
You got it.
Mm-hmm.
Bye bye.
Bye.